All right, thanks a lot for coming on the Radical Fabulatorium today, Kevin and Cody. Really appreciate you giving me some of your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, man.
Yeah, for real.
First thing I want to do is just, I actually kind of owe you a little bit of a thank you because last night we were having a relatively challenging evening with our 8-month-old daughter. And I tossed on Ritual 1. And then by the end of dawn, she was just like chilled out. And then by the end of the storm, out cold.
Oh,
Perfect.
Awesome.
So I just want to,
great.
I just want to
Wait. So you're saying our record puts people to sleep?
Well, it's a meditate. I would say she was probably in a meditative state. Like she may have been asleep, but her brain waves were like set to the next level. You know what I mean?
That's
100%.
No, that's exactly.
No, he's just grilling you.
That's exactly how it should be. That's amazing. That's amazing to hear.
Mission
I love
accomplished.
that.
Exactly. Like this morning, she probably woke up and her brain had literally evolved into that next stage. You know,
you guys. Awesome.
So maybe we could just dive right into that because, like I earlier episodes of, and I know you've been to town here and played Area 506 in St. John here, but
Oh yeah.
and I've been playing Fearless pieces from the record regularly on my show here and there. So of course, I'm sure you get this question all the time, but people are going to hear Ritual 1 and 2 and go like, wow, this is quite different than what I may have thought was coming down the pike. So, I mean, I would guess it was obviously intentional. So that the meditative sounds were probably, do you want to just like speak to that, exactly how it came together?
Totally. Yeah. So we just finished recording a record, and usually when we're recording our mainstream sound records, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot that goes into those records mentally and physically and emotionally. So we wanted to kind of change the pace. It was also like right when the pandemic kind of was hitting hard, and we wanted to chill out and just like expand our musical sounds, because Kev and I are both into world music. I really freaking love world music so much. And my buddy Charlie from Blue Bear Flutes gave me a bunch of these pentatonic scale flutes over the course of the pandemic. I started learning them, and we were just like, one day we're like, dude, let's just start making stuff, like making some songs with these flutes and these drums and synths and stuff. I know we love this stuff. Why not? So we kind of had this idea. We hatched this idea of initially doing something more meditative, like a super meditation record where you just kind of zen out. And then we just got a little bit too psychedelic with all of it. And we had this idea to make it about Fearless as people, like and the world of Fearless in our Fearless chronology, in our mainline sound, and like how his planet used to sound in the past before these colonizers came and took it and destroyed it. So yeah, we just kind of ran with that, and we knew full well that it would confuse a lot of people, but it was something that gave us a little bit of solace from the madness of just like, touring, making big prog records and touring again. And it was a nice way to like just stay sane during the chaos of that time.
And it was recorded, you folks recorded it yourselves, or versus working with David Bottrell for the last one?
Yeah, exactly. We did this at our own studio, which we are at the B Room at Chalet Studio, which is a studio we've worked at for a number of years now. God, I want to say 2017 is when we first started working out of that, the A Room, and then we've since went to the B Room as like a long term since around when COVID started, and we just wanted to make a bunch of music that was free from the pressures of making something that sounds, commercial. But it's kind of interesting because anyone who's confused by this, like if they listen to Reflections, the first minute sounds like this record. The beginning of the journey within Starlifter sounds like this. So I think anyone who enjoys those moments are gonna like kind of enjoy seeing it blown out to full CinemaScope on these records. And people who are going to be confused by it, I'm stoked about that, because I think just as Starlifter introduced a whole group of people to progressive rock that might not have otherwise listened to that kind of music, hopefully this record, these records, introduce people to ambient music, into new age music, into world music. And, we put some playlists together of all of the artists that influenced us, like, Fela Kuti and Dead Can Dance. And there's good stuff in every genre. Good music transcends genre. And we want to make sure that as a progressive rock band, we want to make sure that we are progressing and making music that's, pushing away boundaries and pushing forward and making interesting music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to add on to what you said there, Kev, I think we live in an age where people are more open about that more than ever, thanks to streaming, right? And there's a lot of cases where bands transcend genre and they bend it and they do all sorts of fun stuff. So we're really lucky to be in this time to be able to just experiment with stuff, and people for the most part are down to go along with the ride.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really great moment in time for that, especially, every once in a while the algorithm feeds you something that just kind of like changes your musical path, like forever almost, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times, like, I was listening to something and there's a similar song that was suggested, and then I discovered like an incredible artist that's just like hidden with like 2,000 followers or something, and you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. I gotta show everybody. This is the best.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, this record's cool because like it's world, so influenced by world music, but it's a world building record too. I don't know, maybe like my show is, I don't really have like, I don't go prog angle too much on my show, so to speak. Right. So I wouldn't mind, like, is it possible to do a quick rundown of the overarching story that connects Fearless with this record? And I think that's going to roll into the next record too, the themes anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So our first song that has Fearless in it is The Oracle on our White Buffalo record. Follows the story of Fearless, this young person on this planet who hears a tale of this mystical MacGuffin, this chalice, and this oracle he has to seek out to unlock its power to find it, and ends up drowning and gets encased in like ice underwater, is frozen for like thousands of years, and then he wakes up way later in Fearless Part 2. And he realizes his planet is destroyed. There's this syndicate that's coming from space, this intergalactic colonizing empire of sorts, and they're basically trying to harness the energy of their sun, among other things. They completely stripped this whole planet, and Fearless is now imbued with this power that he was seeking. Goes on basically to exact revenge upon the aggressors and to try to salvage what's left of his planet, but then finds out that, it's kind of almost too late. They're messing with the sun, and the only way to destroy it is to create this big catastrophe. Basically, he syncs up his consciousness with computers. There's a lot of weird sci-fi stuff. He becomes commensurate with all of the syndicate's weaponry and spaceships, and destroys this thing around the sun and creates a black hole, and then gets sucked into it, and that's the end for now.
Cool. And so Ritual 1 and 2 is like the world before the syndicate kind of takes hold.
Exactly.
Okay. So I really appreciate like the I guess, would you call it found noises? I'm guessing someone had a field recorder and recorded those, like the sounds of nature?
We went around it's all recorded in the woods around our studio.
Okay.
And there's a lot of sounds that sound like rain, and we thought it was rain. We were like, wow, like what's happening here? Because we were looking up the sky and it was sunny, but it was, it sounded like rain, like dripping down on like the trees. And we found out later that it was this invasive species of caterpillar that were eating the leaves and pooping like consistently. And they were pooping so much that it sounded like rain.
Wow.
And so there's like all over Ritual 1, that constant sound rain is that in fact caterpillar poop.
Well, it's only on Dawn. We have a lot of Rainstick and Ocean Drum as well. Thank God, because... But
here's the thing. Who's to say where the poop ends and the rain starts?
But Jay, I tell you, I hate caterpillars, so it was horrifying to find that out.
Oh, really? Okay, that's funny. Raining shit on your record.
Yeah, on a peaceful album.
Yeah, you know what it made me bring to mind is that caterpillar from like Alice in Wonderland. That's like munching the rock, like just looking like a smug bastard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so that's kind of like a nice little secret tidbit that there's poop. There's poop to be listened to. Yeah.
Sadly.
So, to get to the good stuff, you got to wade through the poop. But again, it's a beautiful sound. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, like, a roast by any other name still smells just good. So, it sounds good. Man. It is good, baby.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds nice. I would never have guessed, of course. Thinking about actually the production, like, I guess, because, you listen to this record on speakers, and then you listen to it in headphones. Mm-hmm. And, of course, in headphones, you can pick up on all the panning. The reverb choices are really nice. When it comes to, like, mixing it, what was the approach? Were you mixing in headphones? Were you mixing on studio monitors?
So the first Ritual record was mixed by our friend Justin. The second one I mixed myself in the same room, just with different monitors and a different perspective. But a lot of it comes down to I think we believe that the mix starts at the tracking, and a lot of the time is like when you're you're performing, like, say for instance Cody's flutes, right? Like we would pick a reverb as Cody was performing, and we'd make sure that we were mixing with that same patch, right? Like if you're performing with a plate and then you hear a hall afterwards, you're like, nah, I don't know if it's quite the same thing, right? Because a lot of these records were kind of like written and recorded simultaneously. Yeah. And you want to make sure that whatever inspires you at the moment of creation is that same moment that somebody's hearing and the final result. And so when we're making those panning choices and there's the effects choices, a lot of it is getting printed and baked into the sound. So it's less of a mixing of putting the space in afterwards, and it's more mixing does come back down to mostly just panning and volume automation.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was going to be the next question, is kind of the swelling and how's that controlled, and if you kind of treated the studio more like an instrument, or if you...
So a lot of the swelling, that's actually, you're just hearing just a ridiculous amount of synthesizers on there. I find this one specific synth, the Roland JXP, has this amazing sound to it. It's like languid and cloudy and pillowy in a way that most synthesizers aren't. And there's a couple patches on it that I love. In fact, Hans Zimmer loves it a lot. It's called Soundtrack. And you hit that button and you play a big chord and it sounds like a Hans Zimmer score. There's just something about it. There's really, it's rich but soft, and it kind of bakes into the background of the sounds, and you're hearing a lot of that synth on these records. Because again, you can have it sitting in a mix, but it doesn't dominate over it. That's a big part of like what I found on the first record. I also was experimenting a lot with this old Kawai K1M, which is it's like a 90s PCM synth, which is like a pulse code modulation synthesizer, and it just has this amazing, like, breathy, airy kind of quality. So a lot of the stuff that's kind of tantalizing, like up in I'd say like upwards like the 6K range, right? That like that where the sibilance lies, like that synth really occupies a lot of that space too. But again, it kind of like ducks out of the way of like the mid range of Cody's flutes, right?
Okay, that makes me wonder too, like since this is instrumental, it's probably easy to get carried away and end up with a lot of mud. But then at the same time, without vocals being there, like frequency wise, did that change the approach to like what you, I don't know, quote unquote, allowed yourself to do?
I think a lot of the melody comes from the flute, so I think the flute sits in a similar place.
It's treated as the vocal, really, I would say. It's nice to not have to sing it.
Just get to perform it. One thing I like with the flutes is like every once in a while you can hear the breath. Like you I'm assuming you're breathing in to get ready for the next pass, and you can hear that in the mix. And I don't know, I just appreciate when that sort of stuff pops out. Anyway, in headphones, and I started to notice that.
Yeah. Again, it's so easy to get carried away with editing after the fact. You're like, no, we need to remove this. No. Retain the humanity.
Yeah, it's human. Yeah, I couldn't help it, so keep it in there.
Retain the humanity.
Yeah.
So look at this guy breathing over here, right?
How dare you?
How dare you breathe and play this instrument?
Gills yet.
Is it music made by robots now? That's what I was told. So So okay, so did you started with the melodies on the flute? I guess you said you kind of wrote them and record them at the same time.
Well, like
either
on the
a melody or a rhythm, right?
Yeah, like on the second record, it was either like a flute melody or like a rhythm on like a djembe or something, and then we'd translate the djembe rhythm like off to other percussion, and then we would just build around that. We'd just be like, okay, this melody with this drum, sick, and then Kev's like, this pad, awesome, and it was just super fun. We were just building on top of each other like that, like just riffing.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool. And so the double, it's going to be packaged up as a double vinyl on Inside Out Records, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, October 3rd. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I'm hyped for that.
Are we allowed to talk about the next record you folks have been quietly working on?
It acts as like a prequel to Starlifter, where it deals with the crumbling society of the Syndicate's home planet and how bad things had to be for them to resort to the intergalactic violence and hijinks that ensue. And it kind of deals with the fist of the Syndicate, Captain Blackstar, who's the big bad and the antithesis to everything that Fearless is. Yeah. But again, just as anything, when something's on two far ends, you realize there are more similarities than you think. This is, is kind of a tragic story that unfolds, and we've got another sideline epic we're wrapping up right now. Which
I just finished the vocal yesterday.
It's sounding pretty good, man. Let me tell you, I think it's the most cohesive near 20-minute song we've written so far. Hopefully, the next one will be even more cohesive. But this one sounds sick.
It's even more like story and like chapter driven, which is pretty fun to just insert that nerdiness into our music like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, is it going to open with that sidelong epic?
I think it actually serves to close out the record. The record this time, like we're starting. We start out the record with 4 or 5 shorter songs. And then it closes out with the grand epic piece.
Yeah, but the difference is, I would say, is that, this whole entire record is like all serving the story of Fearless this time.
The narratives throughout the entire...
record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does that influence come from? Like, of course, it brings...
Rush.
Rush?
Rush and like we're nerds, man. Like growing up reading Lord of the Rings and Dune, writing my own fantasy novel right now and stuff, just like being complete nerds and owning it.
That's one of my wife's favorite authors is Isaac Asimov, and she's read
Isaac Asimov,
ton of his stuff. He's incredible. Man. That's really cool.
Man.
So the Prague thing has always been there, but you studied world music, is that right, Cody?
I studied West African Ghanaian hand drumming, singing, and dancing in university.
Wow,
and then Afro-Cuban drumming on drum kit.
Okay.
For about 5 years.
I'm sure you get the question all the time, but like drumming and singing is, and then when you're singing in the studio, I'm imagine you're just focusing on singing.
Oh yeah, unless it's a live performance. Yeah.
Is the approach? I mean, obviously the approach is different from studio to live, but like, do you have a preference? I guess to like what's like. I'm kind of wondering what the feeling is different, because I imagine in the studio you're standing up to sing, whereas live you're sitting down.
It's so interesting because like most of the time, I'd say like I can sing better when I'm standing up, but when I'm sitting down and actually performing, I don't even think about it, and it sounds like good, So it's like because I learned how to sing while sitting down.
Okay.
So it's like I tap into this weird like. Just like flow state, I guess, when I'm like just drumming and singing. When we're performing, it just kind of happens easier without me thinking about it, where I can get in my head too much when I'm just standing. Interesting.
Okay, because all your extremities are busy. You can't think about it. Yeah,
preoccupied. Yeah, I'm like, okay, doing this thing. Okay, hit the note. Sick.
Okay.
Yeah,
got it. That reminds me I used to work at a pulp mill of all places, and like you'd be running a forklift and you'd be using everything to get in the zone to load up train cars, And then you'd find out you're just like bam in this like flow state. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, when you're doing more than one thing like that, there's a lot to juggle, and you can't really make a mistake.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could quickly touch on before the end of the chat here, Kevin. I heard you talk about some of the struggles with like visa fees and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like my other job is working with Music New Brunswick. It's like an association that provides like investments and grants to touring bands So I see that too on some of the applications, like the getting into the U.S., crossing the border with visas and merch and stuff. Do you mind touching on that just a little bit? Because I'm sure a lot of my listeners probably aren't really hip to what it's like really to be on tour and have to cross into the U.S. or other countries with merchandise and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I can speak to that, no problem, man. How much time do you have?
How much time do we have?
4 minutes, I think, maybe.
I think like touring is a really tricky thing, and everyone who goes on the road knows that the last show is basically your profit margin. The second last show, if you're lucky, is your break even point. So usually, even if you lose like one or two shows, like a tour is a bust. And that's like if things go all according to plan. Other than that, right? And at this point at touring, in its livelihood, wherever it is merch is basically where you actually make your money. And when you go across the border, you have to pay tax on that merch before it's sold. So let's say you have 300 shirts, you're paying the sales tax beforehand on those 300 shirts to properly import them. That's before all of these ridiculous tariffs have been put in place. And now you have to pay tariffs based on wherever those items of clothing were made. And trust me, there are not a lot of made in USA t-shirts, let me tell you. I've looked. And then the other side of things is work permits. So there's two options for musicians, right? You can get a temporary work permit known as a P2 visa. And let's say you play 3 shows in America or 30 shows in America. However many shows you have booked before you apply for that visa is how many shows that visa covers. So the fee does not change based on the amount of shows and the amount of income that you can potentially make. And when you're a smaller band, you are not going to be booking 300, 400, 500 shows in advance the way that people, again, like no one is anymore, right? No one's going on tours like that anymore. So let's say you have, half a dozen shows that are booked and you apply for your visas. Each application is about $2,500 US. And if you have any crew, that you also have to pay for them as well, right? And so after the exchange rate, you're looking at about 8,000 and change Canadian just to get across the border legally. And that's before you have to apply for an ATA carnet for all of your equipment. Throw another, $500 onto that as well. And you also have to declare every single piece of merch on that ATA carnet as well. And there's a lot of paperwork. And then what people don't know is the application waiting time, right? It used to be like a couple of weeks. Now you're looking at months of waiting time, up to a year, unless you pay for the expediting those fees, which is why it comes up to about $8,000. And now you cross the border. And also it's important to know, any border guard that you go to, if they're in a bad mood, you're not getting across, right? It's really important. It's like you got to bow down and kiss the boot when you're crossing the border as a band. You have no choice. And then once you get across the border, now you have to deal with something called withholding tax. And most people don't realize that you need an ITIN as a foreign worker. An individual tax identification number. As Cody and I have been performing musicians for the last
10 years.
10 years of our lives. Yeah. We have only finally received ITINs from the IRS this year. And it's taken us years of working with the CRA and the IRS to get these numbers. Now, again, these are individual tax identification numbers. If you are going down as a corporation, you need to figure out how you're going to deal with the withholding tax, which sums out to 30%. So let's say you're making, $1,000. No, you're not. The promoter is giving you $700. Mm-hmm. That $300 that even though it's contracted, and again, you're going to have to claim that $1,000 to the CRA, and they're going to charge you tax for that. The IRS is withholding that until you get your shit together. It's going to take a long time. Even if you do have your crap together, it's going to take a long time just to get it to process. And trust me, the IRS loves to forget about you. They love to ignore you. And then the great thing is the international number for the IRS doesn't actually work unless you're in America. So good luck.
So we had to dive on Reddit into this crazy, sketchy forum and found a number that works in Canada to sneak our way in.
Yeah. Anyone who needs some guidance or assistance, reach out to us. we know some stuff.
Yeah.
We'll help you if we can.
Yeah.
But anyways,
We've been through it, man.
and then it comes down to also the fact that the exchange rate is going to brutalize you when you're every time you fill your tank, it is 30% more.
I don't want to go there.
But America is the mecca of music.
Mhm.
If you want to make it in as a musician, Canada has 3 cities that are close to what an American city is as far as having a large population and a large population that has enough income to want to go out and see a concert. Right. And it's Canada is a very large empty country.
Mhm.
And a lot of people who live in this country are struggling very hard. And America, even though they struggle as well, there is a lot more culture are built out around the third place, right? Whether it's Canada, we go home, we go to work, maybe there's a Timmy's run in between. There's not a whole lot of hanging out and going out to shows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Most people do not spend their money to just hang out because again,
3 minutes.
if anything, if anything that Canadians have, the upper echelon Canadians, is the cottage culture, right?
Mhm.
That's their third place. America, there's still more of a culture of going out, and there's also a cash culture, right? Whereas Canada, we're basically completely cashless. So at least in America, you have a better chance of selling your merch. You have a better chance of having people come out. And of course, you're a 2 or 3 hour drive away from another city with 1 million people. Hopefully there's going to be a few hundred people that are going to be interested in your music.
Okay.
It's where you have to go if you want to do it. And if you want to do it, you need to have rich parents, or you need to have a ridiculous dream and access to opening up a business bank account to open up a line of credit.
Like we did.
And right before we were signed to Universal, I think we were about to declare bankruptcy because we were so underwater, right? And that signing that record deal, we were like, cool, we could, some people are like, we could buy houses. We just paid off our business line of credit and we're able to float through it a few more years of life, right? But again, you have to be willing to kind of do that.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, it's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, so the lesson is it can be done. There's difficult challenges. Kevin's the man to ask if you have questions. I should pitch you to my boss at Music New Brunswick to put on some sort of clinic for our New Brunswick touring acts to help them get across, to help them learn how to get across the border. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
I'm down. Yeah, I love New Brunswick. My dad's family, the Comos, we're all from Bathurst. So
Yeah, very cool.
I love I love New Brunswick. Hit me up, man. Let's do it.
I will. We had a band here who they had a big tour booked and the visas didn't come through on time. They even paid for expedited, and they had to cancel their whole tour.
Man.
It's a different world, man. Even a couple of years ago, you paid for those expedited fees, and it was almost a guarantee. It's not anymore.
Yeah. Scary.
Okay.
Scary when you're throwing that much money around.
Well, we're out of time here. I probably went over a couple minutes, but I appreciate the I would actually reach out to you, Kevin. I am not. I would actually. I bet my boss would be stoked to do that.
Hit me up. You've got my email, man. Definitely hit me up. I love that stuff.
And I'll ask the person who lined it up if she'll give me your email address. But
yeah, totally, man.
Okay, so let's just recap here. So Ritual 1 and 2. Let's not forget it, coming out October 3rd on Inside Out. Which is going to be fantastic. Everyone should check it out. Streaming now, of course, everywhere you stream. It's also on Bandcamp, so snag it there. Maybe wait till Bandcamp Friday if that is your style. That's always good. And otherwise, we'll be waiting patiently for Groundland's follow-up. The next, I guess we'll call it the mainline record. Is it with David Bottrell again? Maybe I'll sneak that last question in.
We're working on a few tunes with Nick Resculinitz down in Nashville, and a few other tunes with David Bottrell and a couple other ones just by ourselves. We're just working with all the boys that we love, and then also each other. So
very cool.
Yeah. Hey, geez.
Yeah.
All right.
Wicked. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, man.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
All right, we got to jump on another phone right now, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Have a great day. See
you too, buddy.
See you, Kevin.
Take care.
Bye. All right, and that was Kevin and Cody from Crown Lands. Their new records, Ritual 1 and Ritual 2, coming out on Inside Out Records October 3rd, double vinyl release. Of course, you can stream the record now wherever you stream music. You can also check out their Bandcamp page. You can find the links to contact them in the description below. Thanks a lot for listening.